Presentation is being put on by Roger Rosenbaum. And Roger has worked with some of the largest propane companies and some of the smallest propane companies, and some of the biggest companies in our country with regards to their digital media and engaging today's audience. That really, I guess you can see from all my hair that I am the MTV generation. So now we're into a world where we have the YouTube generation, and of course, the new things that are replacing Facebook. Well, Roger's instincts, his experience, his business helps companies engage with the marketplace in the new digital world that we're in, and that means video. So Roger, thanks a lot for being here. Thanks for participating in this, and I'll let you go ahead and take it from there.
So Bill, thank you so much. Sorry for the technical difficulties in the age of COVID. It seems like we're all running from place to place to place, trying to make magic with the minimal resources that we have. But I really want to just take a second here and thank Bill and Shane for doing all the legwork on getting Virtual Propane Expo up and running. It's such an important bridge in many different ways, even without COVID. You know, this is such a vital link because I think we all realize that our time is very finite, and going to trade shows and engaging is something that we all have to sort of look at to determine what's the cost benefit, what's the ROI on it. And everybody's attention is being pulled in so many different directions. Even prior to COVID, you know, that everything was being scrutinized to determine, you know, should I go to this convention? Should I do this? You know, is it worth, am I going to get out of it what I'm putting in? What's the long-term benefit? And we all know that in propane and any business really, it's about building relationships, face-to-face connections, knowing someone who knows someone, or knowing someone who's come through and delivered a solution in a timely and effective manner is really critical. And in the COVID era, that's really sort of gone by the wayside a little bit because we can't reach out, touch, see, you know, really engage people on a one-to-one basis. It's much more of a digital platform. And so I just want to circle back to say that Shane and Bill have done a remarkable job, just not in only the concept of this, but also in the execution, minus my own issues trying to get on this morning. But I just want to thank both of them and for everyone for realizing the value that this platform has. I think we all know that in the propane industry, people are looking for value. Whether you're a marketer, whether you're providing a service, a product, no one is looking to spend money foolishly or feverishly. So I often think that video is sort of seen as a luxury. But what I want to talk about today is really, it's a necessity, even more so in the COVID era where we're not able to be, you know, with each other face to face. Being able to convey value, confidence, connection, and solutions is critical. So I thank Bill for the introduction, and I would like to move to the next screen and just get the presentation started. A little bit of background. Like Bill, I started in this industry with some hair on my head. I started as a what they call a one-man band, a multimedia journalist for a station in upstate New York, where ironically, one of the first stories I covered was a propane leak. I had a police scanner, and I was literally 5 minutes away from what was essentially a backyard tank that started to leak, and they evacuated the whole neighborhood. So I ended up telling the story of that whole incident, which could have turned out a lot worse than it did if there were not very trained and talented propane professionals on the scene. Again, that was 30 years ago, and I will never forget that I had my camera about, 20 feet away from the tank. This is how little I knew about propane back then. And the propane bobtail driver, I think it was, looked up at me and he said very quietly, he said, "Does anything with your gear start and stop with the battery?" And I shook my head no. And then about 5 seconds later, I shook my head yes. And I slowly started to move backwards because I realized that my system, my video gear, my broadcast video gear was in fact powered by brick-sized batteries that did start and stop. And I realized what he was saying, which was that he didn't want any electrical charges in the area. So that was my first early experience with propane, and I ended up telling the story on the region's #1 news station at 6 o'clock and 11 o'clock, which was how the whole thing sort of unfolded and how it was resolved by propane professionals who really knew what they were doing, and it averted a tragedy. So my background is taking pictures, telling stories, and getting people to understand what really is at the essence of an issue. And bring it full circle to the present. We're using everything, even FAA compliant drones, to tell stories. And really, what I want to convey today is that everybody is using video in so many essential ways that you really can't ignore its value, its power, its impact. And especially as you're trying to create a sales funnel, let's say in a trade show booth, it's really your greeting card on how you're going to connect with people. Since they can't see you face to face or, use all of the other senses, we're really looking to, showcase who we are and what we're offering through video. And I've got, 30 years experience doing that, and as well as with crisis communications, marketing, advertising, and social media. So we really want to look at who is video for. Video is for everyone in the propane spectrum: residential, commercial, industrial, agriculture, auto gas. I'll never forget about 12 years ago, I was looking for a toy for my son. And back then, 12 years ago, this little toy that lit up at night had its own video. And that video made the purchasing decision. It helped me make the purchasing decision because I could see and get a real sense of what the product offered. And again, I think that's critical. Visual storytelling, like you're seeing here with an FAA compliant drone, really shows and tells. I often feel like people, especially at a trade show, try to sell. They sell you. They get in their face. They tell you what their product, what their widget does. What we really need to figure out at this stage of the game where we are with COVID is how your product, it's not selling it. You're really telling someone about your product so that they can make the decision on when to buy it. The whole buying platform is sort of switched to a point having to really, the buyer really is in the driver's seat because everybody is both overwhelmed with what's going on at home, going on at the office. So people are only dealing with absolute necessities. People often say it's the new normal. No, I don't think it's the new normal. I think it's sort of like a different way of living and doing business, which is that, the face-to-face aspect of things is sort of no longer existent, at least for now. So we have to sort of rely on what we can figure out for ourselves with the information that's provided for us. And I think visual imagery is so critical, and really video and storytelling to create an image of how a product or service is going to benefit the end user so that they see the value. It's not about you telling them what the value is. They need to see that your service is what they need. And I think a really critical aspect of branding and video is you really need to stop thinking, if you're a propane marketer, you need to stop thinking about selling propane. You're not selling propane, because the reality is everybody has propane. All propane marketers have propane. They have the stock. But what really separates propane marketers is how they engage with the customers, how they provide the service, how timely they are, how cost effective they are. And propane really should not be sold as a commodity, which it really is. It needs to be sold as a lifestyle essential to run your business safely, comfortably, and effectively. Everybody needs to have propane, those who, let's say clean towels or, cook in a restaurant, or in the wintertime, heat an establishment. But I don't think that the value of propane is best sold as sort of a commodity. It's what it does for the end user. And I'm trying to sort of bridge the gap between showing you and telling you how video can really deliver. For example, on a website, there's one statistic that I came across, which is that if you've got a video on your website that shows and tells, you have a chance of increasing your engagement with a customer by 80%. And that is so critical. Showing and telling is so much more of value. We have to understand that ROI, as I mentioned before, propane marketers do not spend money frivolously. So they need to understand right from the gate what the ROI is. And sometimes it's hard to, you create a story, you create a timeline on video. It's sort of hard to say, how they're going to get their return on investment. It used to be sort of like a wing and a prayer. I remember working with one propane company that had an 80-year track record that had never used TV because they felt it was too expensive. What we ended up doing was we ended up using local insertion advertising and getting 30-second spots on the Weather Channel locally that cost as little as 50 cents a piece. So you have to sort of look at all of the aspects of it. And when you shoot video, for example, for a TV spot, that video can be repurposed and used on social media. It can be used on mobile platforms. It can be used on your website. So good video is really marketing gold. That's really what it comes down to. And it's not just a matter of hitting record and you've got, voila, you've got amazing content. A lot of thought needs to go into who you are, what you're doing, how you're doing it, and then how you're going to distribute it. So it's not just a matter of having content. You have to have good content, which really engages customers. And, and I think the way that the video can be helpful for the virtual Propane Expo is lead generation. You put a video that really creates sort of stickiness. Let's say you're a marketer that has a specialty and you really reach out to your target audience with a message that is going to resonate with them and have a memorable connection. And that really can increase your potential success with lead generation. And video can be used on so many platforms in so many different ways that it's really not the size of the camera that you get or that your vendor gets, because everyone can either buy them at B&H Photo or at Best Buy. It's the size of your creative and your thinking and how you're going to use video to show that you are better, faster, cheaper, more efficient than your competition. Let's say one company has a video that's really good, other company doesn't have any video. Who are you more likely to engage with or develop a relationship with? In the age of COVID, the closer you can get to understanding who a person is and what value they're going to have to you, the better that you are to have a long-term relationship. And I don't want to use the word foolish, but you'd be unwise not to think about using video in a marketing and sales platform in 2020, because we all use video, whether it's for work, whether it's at home. And we really need to look at video as part of a sort of a full circle solution for propane marketers. I think that it's an essential. I think everybody, and you back up a second, because if you think about it, historically, we're about 15 years out since the Yellow Pages were a key sort of platform for people to decide which propane marketer they were going to use. Now we've got social media, people saying good things and bad things about, companies. We've got mobile platforms. We've got apps. So I can control a propane delivery via an app, or I can decide, sitting on my iPhone, which company I'm going to go to. And the companies that embrace video and tell stories in a way that bring people together, I think those guys are going to be the most successful, because video is easy to digest. It can be entertaining. It can be engaging. I can shoot video and use it for 5 or 6 different things. I can build a library. I've often wanted to do this for a propane company, which is to build a library of footage of them in action each of the seasons, and then use that video on their website for the specific season that we're in, so that it creates a real link for people. It's almost subconscious. When you're on a website and you see video with the season matching we're in, it's almost like you're creating an engagement where people feel like it's a signal that your propane company is sort of, is up to speed with the current technology and with great content. You're saying, hey, we're respecting your time. We're showing you where we are right now. And I really think that video is a replacement for the face-to-face connection that we can't currently have. And video can be used to sell, tell, train, educate, entertain. I did this photo here to the right is a drone shot that we took as I was shooting a cover for LP Gas magazine. We showed up at a volunteer fire department because they were making a delivery that I was capturing. And we went up to one of the volunteers and, we told him what we were doing. And 10 minutes later, he had called the chief. The chief came down, they rolled out all the trucks, and we sort of did a pictorial shoot of the involvement and the necessity of propane and fire departments as essential workers. Early on in the pandemic, when New York State was essentially shut down, and it was I really appreciate this shot because when 97% of the population was at home, these guys, propane marketers, were out in the field making deliveries when their customers were really nervous. They didn't know, if they were going to run out of propane. They didn't know if their furnace was going to stop working. So images like this really go a long way to basically building confidence, consumer confidence that marketers are going to be available 24/7, 365. I think that's critical in the propane industry, is showing that you're always available and always on, as well as showing the track record that you have.
When the Cummings family began delivering coal to customers in Columbia County. The family later started delivering propane under the name of Mulhern Gas Company. That proud tradition continues today, with 3 generations of the family serving to keep customers warm and safe. Good old-fashioned customer service never goes out of style. Mulhern Gas Company, working through our region's worst weather for generations. On the web at mulherngas.com.
This is a spot we did, I believe we shot 2 days with Rick Cummings, and he was kind and gracious enough to sort of let my company go in, kind of listen a lot with who they are and what they do, and then sort of tell their story in a way that people in the community who've got, let's say, 15 different propane providers as opportunities for clients, we tried to figure out what their lead was, what their hook was, why they do what they do, why they like doing what they do so much, and conveying that. That's really the differentiating factor, is the why these days. Why does Mulhern Gas succeed? Why have they been doing it for 100 years? Well, it's the passion that Rick brings to his business, that they've been, the family-owned business. Here is a clip. Video is so critical for what we call POP, proof of performance. I was on a shoot, again, we were shooting we do a lot of work with LP Gas magazine. We were shooting a cover, a water park, and I figured, since we're there, we're going to shoot a video. There is nothing stronger, I believe, and hopefully you feel the same way, as seeing in your industry a marketer doing something that has the customer praising the services that they provide. Proof of performance is one of the most critical sort of approvals that you can get. And I'm just going to roll this video. It's probably a minute and a half, and it showcases the work that PARACO does with the Cartwright Indoor Water Park.
PARACO has the product, power, and people to turn the dead of winter into a summer-like splash fest at the Cartwright Resort and Indoor Water Park. The almost 1-year-old Catskill Mountain Resort relies on PARACO to deliver as much as 20,000 gallons of propane a week during peak winter months. Those gallons of propane stored underground go to heat almost 380,000 gallons of water, keeping the year-round temperature a tropical 84 degrees, including the indoor-outdoor hot tub.
Propane allows us to keep the water in the water park really warm. Obviously, our guests happy in their rooms as well with the showers. It keeps our kitchens going, as we have 7 different eateries and bars. It also keeps our fire pits outside alive so kids can roast s'mores year-round and have fun outside.
So we established the relationship with Cartwright when they opened about 9 months ago, and we've established a 2-year partnership where we will provide the propane to help fuel all of their needs.
Working with PARACO has been great. They've been so great to work with, so accessible, considering the fact that our entire company is built off of propane. We need that close relationship, and they've been there no matter what we need.
As temperatures outside plunge into the teens, it's no easy task turning this mountain resort into a tropical island oasis.
When I spent this weekend here with my family, to see the different uses and how our company is providing that fuel to enable that made me proud to be a PARACO employee.
Here in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York, propane can be a lot more than just a commodity. It can lead to a whole lot of fun and warm family memories that last a lifetime. For LP Gas, I'm Roger Rosenbaum. So that content ended up on their website, on LP Gas's website, and I'm just reminded as I'm watching that, you know, we have climbed into bobtails. I love getting shots underneath, above, sideways, you know, showing visually as many different ways as possible what the company does to deliver for a customer, I think is critical. And finding their story, again, their why did they do it? And to have a third-party endorsement of your service is really critical. Again, here's video we captured of a terminal that was opened by Ray Energy. This was content that was shot and used for LP Gas.
Give her a cut.
Ken Ray, CEO of the New York State-based Ray Energy, is ready to distribute as much as 30 million gallons of propane a year through his company's new rail and truck terminal located in Hampton, New York. The recent ribbon cutting attracted 100 propane professionals, community leaders, and lawmakers.
Well, it went over very well. I think people were truly impressed with the facility. It's a world-class facility, and we're very proud.
I'm going to move to the next slide, which is we've also showcased events like the PGANE event that they had actually 3 years ago. And this is an interesting comparison given the fact that that was where I was about to show you a video, a trade show 3.5 years ago, and how life has changed, COVID, and in terms of budgets and what people could get to. I think that a lot of people with this specific show would say that the turnout wasn't as strong as it probably could have been. And, you know, maybe this was the beginning of the end for more popular shows. Maybe not. I don't want to. I think that it shows how valuable this platform, the Virtual Propane Expo, is. Here's a little of the coverage that we did of this event. A record-breaking 1,500 attendees and 150 vendors participated in the 2016 Northeast Propane Show. The audio is a little low on this. I'm sorry about that, but this gives you a sense of, you know, of the value of, if you weren't there, you saw what you missed, and maybe you realize you should go next time.
Massachusetts. This is a unique part of the country where the residential demand is still growing, but they also have some of the most severe winters. So they're always challenged.
Felt lucky being able to get an interview with Roy, and I've since been able to get interviews with Tucker at PERC. Again, this is pretty much showcased for people who were not able to attend an event. I believe this was something that Shane Sweet put together and was very well orchestrated and attended. Here's a sense of, oh no, actually no, this was after. This is not Shane. He was introduced as the organization's new executive director.
I truly look forward to meeting each and every one of you, whether it be today or throughout the year, helping you find new ways to support the growth of your business in so many ways, from safety and skill training to legislation and regulatory matters and anything in between.
Propane marketers from around New York State were all ears as Whitney introduced his platform. So we also have the ability, I think, in addition to doing endorsements, the ability to do proof of performance. We shot this in 2011. Interesting story is that this was the middle of a tropical storm, and I was actually shooting for an electric company, and I saw Suburban Propane's bobtail go through, and I thought, what the heck are they doing on the road? They were a client at the time, and so as I was shooting for an electric company, and we had 2 days worth of time to shoot, I captured this.
Irene slammed upstate New York 5 years ago. Suburban propane drivers made their way through wind,
rain, and down trees to reach our customers' homes. An elderly couple at this home needed their generator started and tank topped off. Thanks to Suburban Propane, they weathered the rest of the storm feeling warm and safe. Service calls in good weather and bad are why we are here. Call us anytime at 1-800-PROPANE or visit us on the web at suburbanpropane.com.
When my company was working with Suburban, we decided, I believe it was 2011, that we wanted to engage with a community partner to raise visibility, and we started the execs at the time at Suburban and I started a blood drive in Rotterdam, New York. And we ended up growing this one blood drive into a national campaign supporting blood drives from Maine to California, 19,000 of them. My company and executives at Suburban, and that partnership still continues to this day between Suburban and the American Red Cross.
Suburban Propane and its employees are co-sponsoring American Red Cross blood drives throughout the Capital District.
Truly honored to be a part of it and actually know what it means now to donate blood. Essentially, this one blood drive may help save up to 180 hospital patients. So it's an amazing feat.
Suburban Propane, committed to the communities and customers we serve.
We need to be out there helping the community, helping the public, and this is a great opportunity to do that.
And to sort of get to the end of the story here, also, video is so important in the brand voice that, I would recommend that every company sort of look around their own company, kind of like they're a reporter, producer, or executive producer, and say, what stories are we not telling? How can we visually convey our value in a way that customers are going to engage, appreciate, and make a buying decision, or maybe not an immediate buying decision, maybe, kind of filing it away that, hey, when I need this solution, this company, your company is the company that I'm going to go to, because that's what it's come down to in the age of COVID, is that people are only making choices on essential, mission critical areas of either life or business. We're not making, a lot of people are not planning vacations. We're not planning, companies aren't planning a lot of expenditures that they can't truly justify or can see a return on investment. And in this case, working with Suburban, we realized that they had been providing propane to the Adirondack Balloon Festival for, at that time, almost 40 years. And we felt that that was a story that was not well told for a large company like Suburban, that they were able to help provide the propane for the launch of 100 balloons at a time, and keep both pilots and passengers safe in what is truly a remarkable act of science and of weather. And I think it's really important to look at all aspects of the business and how you connect with the community and figure out ways of telling it with really good stories, with video that is well shot. There's good audio. It's well lit. Because 9 times out of 10, I'll see a company, I'm thinking about even a large national company, a $2 billion company, will have its HR director, I've seen it, shooting video with an iPhone. It's not well framed, it's shaky, the audio is bad. So you really need to consider all aspects of video. I mean, sometimes you can shoot stuff for a brand with your iPhone and either edit it yourself or have it professionally edited. But getting back to, you really need to look at your brand strategy, your sales strategy, how you're going to approach customers, and how can you tell your story. The Adirondack Balloon Festival, we ended up going live. My company connected with the Weather Channel out of Atlanta, and they provided this coverage. We set up a live shot. We provided B-roll. And so I think that every company needs to think of itself as a content creator, as an event marketer, and not to have video or not to do video well is really doing yourself and your customers a disservice. We were able to provide content from the Balloon Festival to the Weather Channel as they showcased the event that was propane powered.
Hey, we got a great sky show wrapping up today in upstate New York. More than 150,000 people expected to attend the Adirondack Music Festival before it wraps up this weekend. The Balloon Festival is just an amazing time.
And the festival president, Mark Donahue, joins us live from Glens Falls via Skype. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Nick. How are you today?
We're great. It looks like the weather is fantastic right now, but that may not have been the case yesterday. I understand the winds were a little bit of an issue for those flights.
Last evening, yes. However, yesterday morning we had a spectacular launch in the morning, and this morning we had another spectacular launch. We had a bit too much wind last night, though.
So how do you make sure that fans still have a good time if there is?
So in wrapping up, I would love to be considered by large and small companies as a resource, as an idea place to go to. Hey, how can we use video? What do you think we can do to raise our visibility? I'm also happy to consult with companies if they want to shoot their own stuff, just to give them ideas on how to do it. Because with 30 years of video experience, you know, I kind of rely on a lot of different things that we've done in the past. Myself or my, you know, folks that work with me have done in the past. And having a news background is really helpful because you think of ways to automatically think of story ideas and ways that you can promote things. So I think that propane marketers really need to see the value of video as a storytelling tool in the COVID era, because it's not life as usual or as normal. It's sort of like a different way of living. And I just have nothing but praise for Bill and Shane for creating this platform, because I think the timing is so right. It's not a natural thing for us to engage digitally in the sense that when we're used to going to trade shows and talking with people and getting swag. But I really feel like this is a product and a platform that is hit so at the right time, right place, right time. And I want to see this platform really grow. And any way that I can help any vendors with video content or strategy or marketing, I'm happy to sort of get a sense of who you are, what you do, and how to promote it. So back to you, Bill. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about video this morning. I'm open to questions either now or people can reach out to me at any time.
Great. Thanks a lot. Thanks so much for hanging in with us too and making this happen. You know, the whole idea of storytelling for each one of us, I think, is becoming more and more important. Let's see if I can share my screen for a minute here. So when it comes to the way things are shaping up, things are moving more and more toward us needing to be able to, in our propane space, you had some great examples. So thank you, Roger, for showing the videos of what is possible for propane companies in storytelling. For all of us that are here in this, first I want to say thanks for being in the Expo. And, you know, we're essentially over 200 exhibitors now, closing in on 220 exhibitors, which is about the size of the largest propane expos in the world. It's larger than most every one, except for maybe just one. And it's really because all the propane marketers in our industry are looking for a way to engage, interact, learn, and transact. And the vendors that make up the lifeblood of support for the propane marketers are looking for ways to reach out and share their new products or new services. I would ask everyone that is in this in the Expo, especially in the training events, please visit some of these sponsors. Check out their sites. They're doing some new things. There's some new companies here. One of the things that we all as an industry need to be cognizant of, and the vendors too, you know, as you are visiting this, I would ask you, hey, go check out some of the vendors and see what they're doing. And vendors, the story that was just told here about, you know, how to engage is relevant for all of us. So like, for example, Legacy Energy they have a video here. They're using digital marketing to begin their steps, and as most of us are, beginning a process of engaging through video. And the world of traditional propane expos is not available to us right now. Unfortunately, we all love them. So what happens at a normal expo? There's usually learning events like what we're doing right now, and there's usually some Expo trade show booths that we can go to on the trade show floor where somebody explains to you what they're doing, right? And so this essentially is providing a way. There's videos on a lot of the booths. And if you are a vendor and you don't have videos in your Expo booths, well, this is the time to make a change and start doing that. So as you are going through these Expo booths, you'll see that some of them are now offering special offers for the trade show, so trade show special offers. Check those out because they are really outside of the norm type of special offers. There's contact us stories. You know, you can engage with exhibitors without the feeling that you're getting a bunch of sales breath. You know, I kid the presenters that, you know, make sure you've had your coffee and you come with your game face, but don't worry if you have coffee breath, because no one's gonna experience that in this kind of venue. So there's pros and cons to this online exhibit hall, and pros and cons to having presenters and presentations online like this. Some of the difficulties is we can have some technology challenges, and some of the benefits are that we can engage with presenters really quickly and easily, and we can do it without a whole lot of cost and without us having to travel anywhere. So Roger, thanks again for being here. I really appreciate it. And we're going to go ahead and transition over to the next presentation. We're going to go ahead and shut off this meeting room. So it's almost like we're leaving this meeting room and going to a new meeting room. So thanks everybody. Let's go over there now. Thanks a lot. Thank you.